we're jumping right into it, and today we're going to be changing out the J32 intake manifold for the J37 one. Should give me a little more power, bigger throttle body opening, and a tiny bit more hood clearance. As y'all saw when I pulled up, it still had the hood strapped down, and now that I'm putting the permanent intake manifold, I can actually mark that out and cut it. But that's for later on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the throttle body off. I'm going to keep this right now because I'm waiting for a TPS for the 74mm throttle body to come in. And I kind of like keeping the OEM TPS and throttle body just in case I want to, if I have any like surging or idle issues, I just use this as my source of truth, throw this back in, and I can see if it was like a TPS related or something else, or just some other weird aftermarket throttle body stuff. So I'm going to get going on taking this apart. This is just 3 clips for the throttle body, and then the 1 clamp here that I started to loosen for the intake. Maybe you can just pull that off right now. And then we'll pull these clips. That one for the TPS, this one for the map, this one for the idle air control valve. Now that I've got that out of the way, I'm just going to knock these free. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm not too worried about saving the gasket because the P2R throttle body adapter kit came with 2 thermal ones, one for the J37 side and one for the J37 intake manifold side and one for the throttle body side. And if this one tears, no big deal. One, 2, 3, 4. Set those up there. Probably going to use those later. And we'll just pull this off. Set that up there too. Next, you'll do the 12 10mm bolts and nuts around the perimeter of the top plate. I already took those off with the electric ratchet, just to not be annoying with that on this coming through on the microphone. So we'll just pull these and set them aside. And final one. And once we lift this, it should expose the lower 12s. And I think there's either 10 or 12 of those as well. I'm still fairly new to taking these apart, but so we have 10. So 8 bolts, 2 nuts. Alright, and again, I broke those 12s free with the electric ratchet. Didn't want the buzzing on the camera. They are actually fully free this time, unlike the last time where I had to manually undo them like some scrub. But now take a moment to look at all the other connections you didn't undo, like this air intake temperature sensor right there, and these vacuum hoses over here. Let me grab some pliers. Got some pliers. Let's just move that down. Same thing over here. Just do that. And those should just pop out like so. And this one. Alright, I think that's everything. Nothing on this side, nothing on that side, nothing connected. Vacuum hose for the fuel pressure regulator has been removed as well, so I think we can just lift her straight off. And we can. Just gonna go set this aside real quick and come back and take those studs. Okay, now that we got the rag in place, I did want to show you guys how to knock that free, but I guess doing it from the top with the electric ratchet kind of loosened the stud. So I'm just gonna back this out and then I'll try it on the other one. But the basic concept is put a wrench on the bottom nut, you tighten the top one until the stud moves like that, and then you use that to break it free, and then you can use your ratchet to ratchet it out. Since I demoed that one, I'm going to take that one off camera and then assess what else we got going on there. Alright, so I undid the 10mm that held this bracket down to right here, just to get this out of the way so I can access the 2 12s for the runners back here. I do have ported runners. They are wrapped up over there in like the brown paper and the styrofoam. Here you can see the injectors the 1050s, and doesn't look like there's too much left to do here other than just knock those 12s out, pull the injectors out, and just set the rail aside for now. I do have aftermarket P2R rails that I will be putting in, but that's when I do the fuel system, so I'll be taking the intake manifold off again, but at least I won't have to deal with the runners. So let me set this on the tripod and start pulling this apart now. Alright, so here's where I'm at right now. I realized I was laying in front of the camera and all you could see is just like my left side, and that's not enjoyable for anybody. So there's 4 8mm bolts holding on the fuel rails to the lower intake runner. So that's one right here, and then the back one right there, and the other one right there. I've gotten the bolts, all 5 bolts off the front runner already off, and once I do that I can get the final off of the rear runner. So this we can just lift out of the way right now, and that exposes my gross little valley right there that I think I'm going to break out the vacuum cleaner and kind of like pull that out and get up some of this loose valve cover shavings. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'm also going to pull that rear runner and that last O-ring, that last fuel injector spacer or base, whatever it's called, so I can throw on the new runners. Alright, and that's the last last nut. And that can be lifted right off. There we have it. Probably got some good hood clearance now. Probably the nicest looking part in the engine bay, and it's about to get covered up with the dirty intake manifold. But we've got the lowers on. I cleaned up the valley there with the vacuum, got up all the little acorns and leaves from whatever was living in there, and making progress. I'll show you the difference between the ported ones and the stock ones in just a moment. Let me just get these all snugged in. I've got the back mounted fully, and I believe I just have the 2 center nuts left. Yep, there's one. There's one. And 2. Alright, I'm going to tighten those up, and we'll measure the difference between the runner size of the ported ones and the stock ones. Alright, got the ported runners on. They are just over 45 millimeters, and the stock ones I think are just right around 42. Let's see. Yep, so the stock ones just under 42 millimeters, give or take, just over. Picked up a little bit of spacing, but these have made good power on everything else, so they work. So they're on there. I'm gonna throw the manifold on, the thermal gasket, and hopefully start it up. Like so, and it's on. It's gonna go around, tighten the bolts, and then put the top cover on and start doing the throttle body adapter. Alright, so here we are with the completed manifold. Kind of just did that thing I always do, get tired of holding the camera and stopping every 5 minutes to progress 2 minutes, so I put it down for about an hour and progressed 2 hours, I think. Anyways, CLS throttle body back on, adapter on, J37 manifold on. I just got to pull this off and connect the brake booster. I'm going to knock these studs off because I have a feeling those will be catching my arm as I'm working on the car. Got to trim the PCV valve line back here to fit here, and I got to get some 3/16. Is it 3/16? 3/16 tubing to extend the fuel pressure regulator hose to the little nipple over here. So I'm going to do that right now, and then hopefully first start it. Almost sounds like a vacuum leak. Well, at least we know it runs, and I'm going to call it here. I'm going to set out that screw. Hopefully I didn't throw it away. I probably did. And then, if not, I can take it from there. And tomorrow we'll do the fuel lines. This has to come off anyway, so stay to this part. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.